Okay, Monday, 8th of September 2025. So, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. The new digital aristocrats, the new aristocracy. So, I'm seeing a bit of rumbling here and there, on social media and elsewhere, about a new potential um, aristocracy, a new kind of class of people emerging because of Bitcoin. And when we say aristocracy, we mean an arbitrary group of people seemingly chosen at random that have better privileges, that can do more things, more rights, more privileges, more access, more something than most other people can access. And we're seeing that it's 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 certainly going to slowly play out over easily the next decade, and it will be distinctively noticeable over the next 10 to 15 years. And after 15 years, it'll be like black and white. It'll be very distinctive, very noticeable. And that's interesting. That's good and bad in terms of wealth and lineage and access. Very powerful, decisions, profitable consequences. Very nice. Okay. But then you could say, well, that's going to cause some animosity. I'm thinking defensively as well. Because in the future, I think it'll be bittersweet to say the word Bitcoin or crypto. Because people, resentful people, in 15 years from now, especially 10 years, 5 years, I guess so. But 15 years from now, yes, it'll be bittersweet in a sense of it'll spark resentment in some fashion. People will just think, people will just think that, oh, you got rich for no seemingly good reason. You just got rich because you can. You just are rich. You just got rich from thin air, from magic. It's unexplained. There's no logical cause. So people are going to be very resentful about it and say, oh, that's because of um, theft or something illegal, immoral, something like that. So people are going to see it that way very easily. But on the flip side, it's going to be creating a new meritocracy. I did a video about this with regards to increase the value of products, make things more worthwhile, with regards to shrinkflation, and regards to things being increasing in quality, deflation. That's it, essentially that. So it's going to have material benefits, but on the flip side, there's reputational risk in the future, which could be problematic, but it depends on things in the future. Okay, in society and culture, people, places, because as more people understand intuitively what the price of Bitcoin is, as they understand the price, it's something with a lot of zeros, and oh, it's something I've heard mechanically, technically, then they're going to slow. That is going to be the source of resentment in some fashion. But you got, how did I make it make sense? And that's what these videos are for. So then we could say, right, well, how would people perceive? How would people with Satoshis be perceived in the future? It depends, really. Interesting. And you can say, right, well, a lot of things are going to be built on top of Bitcoin. And then you could say it's going to be the golden rule. It's he with the gold makes the rules, and then maybe in the future it'd be the Bitcoin rule. He with the Bitcoin makes the rules. He with the Satoshis make the rules, and that's interesting because I remember this being talked about briefly about 10 years ago, actually, with regards 10 years ago, 7 years ago, with regards to the people with the Satoshis are going to make the rules with the Bitcoin. Those with the Bitcoin will make the rules because eventually, as Bitcoin is a black hole of money, and I did a video about this, a lot of the wealth is going to move into it, and those will be the ones that determine the future in terms of the wealth distribution, plans, allocation, you name it. Okay, interesting. Okay, so then we can say, in a sense of increasing institutional involvement by Bitcoiners as counterparties. And that's going to be very interesting with regards to incentives and procedures and what's going to happen there. And we won't know for 15 years easily, uh, when it's distinctively clear. Until then, it's a bit murky. So the Bitcoiners will be the significant capital providers, liquidity anchors, and interestingly, the lenders of last resort. Very interesting. Lenders of last resort. When all the money goes into the Bitcoin network, people will be turning to the Bitcoiners for liquidity, to stay solvent, to stay afloat, to not go bankrupt. Very interesting. Very interesting. And then we can go deeper to say, well, it's the asset everyone needs. No one can stop, and almost nobody understands, which is interesting because that's what this video is for, to educate and teach about it. No one can stop, indeed, because I always say Bitcoin is maths, physics, and computer science. And everyone needs deflationary money, apolitical, fixed supply, money you can own, money you can save, money you can spend, that is censorship resistant. And the total addressable market for that is in the hundreds of trillions. With regards to who needs that is every single person in the world, because money is one half of the transaction of every single transaction. It's the item, the product or service, and the money itself being used to purchase it. So, through cryptographic sovereignty, as in the technology, open source code, that's going to arguably guarantee the future of Bitcoin and the future of Bitcoiners, provided those can continue saving and hodling. Bitcoin prestige equals wealth. Bitcoin prestige equals not just wealth, but sovereignty. So the wealth turns into sovereignty because of its first principles, and the price goes up, and 200-week moving average turns into sovereignty, turns into influence, as in I'm free, I have no strings attached, I can do and create and make things happen, turns into legacy. Actions echo in eternity. Very, very powerful. Very, very interesting. And I think over time you could say different numbers of Bitcoin will be perceived in different ways. They'll be just as whole coiners will be rarer than billionaires are today. That's quite interesting. If you take all the Bitcoin in the world, 21 million, a little less than that, but okay, and you divide that equally among the world population, it's a fraction of a Bitcoin per person. Wow, that's interesting. So then you see whole coiners, again, rarer than billionaires are today. So that's very powerful. I think it's going to create resentment. That's very interesting to be conscious of. It's operational security and it's defensive stature, really. As in careful what you say, when and where. And you can go deeper to say it's social calibration, knowing what to say, knowing when to say it, etc., etc. I did a video about this a year and a half ago, entitled "Good Thing I'm Rich." Interesting, very interesting. So we want to understand that the privilege, the prestige it's going to have, the sovereignty that's going to be unleashed through it, and the innovation and business models that will emerge because of this technology. But on the flip side, resentment, jealousy, that's always going to be there in humanity. Always going to be there. And as more people kind of understand Bitcoin, get a grasp of it, or feel they missed out, feel they missed the boat, which is interesting because the idea shouldn't be thinking in terms of returns, double money, 10x money, etc. Should be more in a sense of using and utilizing the first principles of Bitcoin. Money you can earn, money you can spend, apolitical, decentralized, fixed supply. I forgot the other one now. Decentralized, that's it. Very nice. Focusing on them and having exposure and leveraging that technology. The gains will come in time. It's the leverage. It's the first principle. It's these concepts, the technology that matters above all. That. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. And worth understanding now to prepare for this way into the future. Resentment is always going to be there. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.